Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, today we will discuss about the aspects of database design as a whole. We will first discuss about the data constraints and the relational schemas. Next we will go to the authorization. Next we will go to the throughput and the response time. And last we will discuss all the workflow and data flow and how it can be considered to have all the aspects to form a good database. The aspects of database designs are the main features of designing a particular database for an enterprise. So the first aspect that we need to consider is the data constraint and the relational schemas of a database. Well, when we are saying about database schema or data constraint, that means the constraint can be anything. It can be an integrity constraint or an referential integrity or the checking constraint or the conditional constraints and all. When I am defining the constraint, I am actually restricting the database to a structural value. That means the database structure should follow some restrictions or have some predefined rules to the have database. So when we are saying that the data constraints are we are creating on a DDL part, that is the data definition language part, like creating the schema or the design for the database, that means we only put the values that matches to the attribute followed by the constraints with the attribute. So if the constraint is like the check constraints, then some values need to be checked against the rule. Like the salary cannot be less than 25,000. So when a value is there to insert it into the database, it will be checked against the salary field to have a salary more than equals to 25,000. So it is always better to imply on the requirement of the database handler rather than having the application developer to get involved. So when the difference between the application developer and the designer of the database, that means the designer or the experts of the database know about the database at its most. So when the application developer means already the database or the enterprise had been designed, now we want to apply it. So it is not wise to imply the constraint on the application developer. It should be already done for the design purpose. So now for the data constraints that we have put, we need to talk about the relational schemas. Well, the schemas are considered the infrastructure or the basic structure of a database. Now the relational schema consider the relation between two schemas or the tables. Say suppose for a database we have two relations, instructor and the student. So how can we connect between an instructor and a student? By a relationship, and that consists of a relational schema. So a database is considered to be a relational schema when we put relations among the tables and make it connected with each other. So we need to configure the relational schema very carefully so that it is the base of that relation. That is, if we can change the relations, whole database will be changed accordingly. Also, if we can change the data constraint and the relational schema at the designing process, then it will not affect the fundamental basic requirements of the database. Say suppose when the database will evolve, it can happen that the data requirement may get changed, but there should be some fundamental rules will defined by the enterprise and have it as a normal one for having the database in the enterprise. Now say when we talk about the other part or the authorization part. Authorization is another more aspect that we need to configure it very carefully. Authorization means to give the perspective or the tenure of the person as a worker to the enterprise. What access do we want to provide as in privileges to the user of that application of a database? Sometimes, say we want to fetch the instructor from a student view. So the instructor can get the view of an instructor's name, ID, department, and salary, but the instructor's relation is not allowed to be changed by a student. That a student cannot change just the department of the instructor. So he can only view it and see. So for the reading purpose, so we can give the read access to the database for the instructor relation to the student. So we need to define the authorization, like for which access, from which user, to which relation. So in this way, we can actually say the authorization very carefully. Now again, if I want to take that a particular employee salary should be changed, now it should be incremented. So we can give the administrator as giving the whole privileges, let all the read, write, and update access to the administrator or the designer of the database. So that has the highest privilege holder of that particular database. Now according to the need, we can give different types of users a different privileges so that he can access the relation in that way. So handling authorization is also very important as an aspect of the database design. That when we are designing the database, we should provide some basic preliminary privileges predefined to some of the users. So if that can be a mismatch, that will jeopardize the situation at its worst. Say suppose the student has been given and write access to the instructor, so he can generally write it or insert the values of an instructor in the instructor relation. That is not desirable, obviously. So we need to design it very wisely, that which authorization at its minimum we can give at the design phase. So we should give only the basic and the demand of the database authorization. Other than that, we will add and delete the privileges accordingly while the development and the evolve of the database. Next is the throughput and response time. Let us first define the terms. The throughput term is the number of queries that we solve per unit time, or it is the output on a database per unit time. And the response time stands for from the starting to the ending of a transaction, or say a successful query. So the time required to start the query and end it, or start the transaction or end it according to the need of the database, is known as the response time. So we should always increase the throughput and lower the response time. That is the design of an ideal database. So when we increase the throughput, that means we are designing the database so smoothly that one can fetch data within a second. That means within a lowest response time. So the lowest response time will eventually increase the throughput, because if it is taking less time to compute on a query, then the number of queries will be increased per unit time. So throughput has a direct inverse relationship with the response time, and my good database design should always consist of a minimum response time and maximum throughput. So if the throughput is not higher, then we can say that the database design is not being done properly or cohesively. So we should always stick to the coherent part of the database, not the redundant one or the incompleteness one or the inconsistent one. We should remove all these terms from the database to have it a good throughput and a less response time. Now, what is the difference between having a query solved as a response time and having a transaction? Well, the transactions are the queries or the number of queries that need to perform for doing a meaningful logical task. It can require that a logical task will have more than one queries. So the transaction needs all the queries to be performed, and the response time will be calculated from the starting to the ending of the transaction. Now that we have made all the constraints like the assertion, the triggers, the check constraints, the integrity constraints, it will actually increase the response time to solve this one. So putting the constraints in a meaningful way, not just we have put them into the database design, but to have it in a way that it will help us to increase the throughput. Last is the data flow and the workflow. When we talk about data flow, that is the how a data flows within a database. That means first the university will have the department data, then the department will transfer it to each of the individual departments to have their own data. Then the departments will transfer it to the instructor to give that what department of having what student. Then the instructor will transfer the teachers or the actual levels or teachings offered to the student. So in this way the data flows from one relation to another relation in a database. It is generally designed by the computer aided design or CAD by the development users of a design process. So it designs that how data will flow through the database. Now when we'll talk about the workflow consists of a combination of data and works within a database system. Now when we talk about a workflow, say for an example that an user or an employer is giving his information on a business trip or the travel information. So the travel expense information relation will consist of starting from the business trip need or from the accommodation, the traveling, the fooding, the lodging and all. So then it will have the workflow. How the workflow started for having the work done as an agenda, then it moves to work done by step for the traveling. Now at the end of the traveling, the work should be completed for a traveling expense diagram. So the workflow is a combination of data that will require from the starting of the agenda to the finish of it. Now it will also require how the work is being flowed from one part to another. So workflow is a combination of a data and task done for a meaningful work. So the workflow and data flow should be designed by the designer so that it can adhere to the most simple one to give the data flow smoothly and workflow smoothly. Now, the other aspects of designing a database are to be considered to have a non-redundant data, complete data, and consistent data. As we know that the data flows while having the designing phase of the database to the development phase of the database. And obviously, some of the features will get changed while the database is actually in use or phase of the development on the database. So when we perform the development on the database, we should consider the changes to get in effect. Now there should be some fundamental requirements that we need not to change by the entire database. That the not null constraints or some referential integrity constraints and all. So we should preserve it, and for the need of the database, we can change the other aspects like the other checking constraints, the assertions, triggers and all. Now when we talk about that the fundamental relation preservation, say for the instructor and student relation that already exists in a database. Now to have the condition that one instructor per one student not need to be changed the entire instructor or the entire student relation, just change an extra information and add it to the instructor as well as in the student relation. So that we need to keep the preservation as well as keep room for the modification and updation of the schema. Now finally, the database is actually happen to be used by the end users or the real users. So the real users are the human beings. So there should be an exact opinion from the real-time human users to the designers that how the database should be achieved and accessed. Now, if there is a human interaction or the end user interaction with the designer process, they should have some expert advertisement and their advertised data on the particular database so that they are advised to improve it more better. When the exact universal database, that is the universality of the particular database, is mentioned, say for an XML, which is an extension markup language. Now when the XML is used to design, it allows the room for improvement, or actually it allows to change according to the user need. That is the basic feature of using an XML, that it requires to have the user definition of the particular portal. So when the user can define their need and then have the database access in that way. So the human interaction or the end user interaction are the foremost developmental need of a database. Because the development of the database will happen, the human are interacting with the database. So when the database will evolve on the particular real environment, then we can say that the database has chosen a good design or not. Until and unless we can just prescribe all the throughput, the workflow, data flow, the authorization, the constraint specification to do the best by the designer and some advice from the experts on this human orientation field. So that are the aspects of designing database. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned with Ekeeda and subscribe to Ekeeda.